Welcome to VAFA Tragics. We have a big show planned, but we will be without our usual host, Andrew Leonard. Unfortunately, he's away with illness, so we wish him all the best. But introducing our panel tonight, and back for her second show, she wasn't scared off after episode 1, Nicole Erasmus.
Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here.
Excited to have you back. And he's only missed one show himself. He's a superstar from down in St. John's Reserve, Brenton Mann.
Welcome, Nick and Nicole. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. Andrew just couldn't get across the line.
And he's got 3 weeks off.
Yeah, there's a little bit of me about it, isn't it?
There's a lot of me.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be bringing us a European tour.
I'm excited to see that in the coming weeks. I don't know about the European sojourn during the football season, but that's another topic for another day.
I look forward to it. So let's get started with performance plays of the week. Brenton, we'll start with you. Who's your performance of the week?
I've gone to Division 2, I think. Or was it Division 3? I'm not too sure. I should know. Jake Munro from Richmond Central, who bagged 10 goals on the weekend, which is actually 2/3 of the Snakes' goal tally for the day. Unfortunately, though, they went down to Swinburne Razorbacks by 46 points.
It's not very often that you can kick 10 goals and lose, I wouldn't have thought.
No, it's a bit of an anomaly, but Jake is very strong in front of the sticks.
Excellent. Nicole, you've watched a lot of VAFA Women's over the weekend. What did you see that sparked your interest?
Mine would have to be Melbourne University, who got the double win. Both of the women's sides won with big wins, and margins were 110 and 71, so I don't think it gets much better than that.
No, exactly. And Melbourne Uni were one of the most recent teams into our VAFA Women's competition, so it's good to see them having success. As for me, I'm going down to Division 4, North Brunswick, who've won 2 games in a row, but Jake George played his second game. After first joining North Brunswick in round 1, he kicked 11 goals. He's got 14 for the season, and he hasn't played since 2012. I think he's had a bit of a cricket career in between, but it was at Therapanola. He's now at North Brunswick, and he is looking the goods. Our first topic tonight is a rule change that came in 2017, the third man up rule, which is causing angst amongst a lot of players from all community football leagues and the AFL. Before we get into it, let's listen to Benny Goodman, the GM of Football Operations and Umpiring, and as to why the VAFA brought it in 2017.
The third man up rule, we were sent a directive from the AFL saying that all community competitions would cease from having or allowing the third man up. So it became not permitted going into the 2017 season. Part of their problem, to be honest, is that they want football across the whole nation to be played pretty much the same rules as the AFL. What they fail to realise, or someone fails to realise, is that that's just not possible. The resultant is that we have a prescribed penalty for tribunal. We have red cards that they don't have, etc. Those sort of things. I've spoken to the head coach, Tony Hales, and I've spoken to our umpiring manager, Brian Woodhead, that I'm not happy with the way this so-called no third man rule is going and basically being accepted at VAFA level. I think it needs reviewing, and we're currently reviewing that as we speak.
That was Benny Goodman from the VAFA. Thank you to Benny again, making his second appearance in 2 weeks. Brenton, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I have no idea why the AFL brought this ruling in the first place. For me, it was actually no concern. The ruck duels around the ground, or around the ground, or throw-ins, they were to ruckman, third man up. I don't think it was an issue. But now the issue is there's so much grey area surrounding the rule about nomination, about loopholes, about players not even nominating to go up into the ruck. It's a big mess at the moment at all levels of football, and I'm not too sure if it's travelling that well.
Do you think it is necessary with the way the VAFA is played across the board?
I don't think it is necessary, but that's an issue to the VAFA bring in rules, get a choice of which rules they'd like to be brought in. That's another issue for maybe another day, but I think it's a massive issue at community level, given the fact that we don't have professional umpires. Sometimes we have 14-year-old kids throwing the ball in from a throw-in. If it hits the ground and only the ruckman allowed to touch it, then you've got people standing around the football not knowing what to do.
Well, that's exactly what happened. I was at St Mary's Salesians reserve game on the weekend, and that is exactly what happened. We don't have elite boundary umpires like the AFL. Like you said, we do have the 14-year-olds throwing it in. Sometimes it will drop short.
Yep.
And then you've got all your on bowlers looking around thinking, are we able to touch the ball before the ruckman do, or do we call play on? So I have a feeling it's going to change. I don't think it will be scrapped altogether. I don't think you can scrap it altogether, but I think you need to change it to be in line with how the VAFA is played.
Nicole, what are your thoughts?
I'll be honest, I don't really understand it. I've watched videos, I still don't get it.
You're not on your own there. Most of the football public, even the AFL players and community football players, do not understand the rule. This is the problem with rules. You can't have grey area on the ground for... Our game is hard enough to umpire as it is. We do not need more rule changes. It's a real bugbear of mine. I think we just bring in rules sometimes for the sake of it, and it's just a knee-jerk reaction that it didn't need to take place.
Let's touch on Old Scotch then.
Yes.
Let's touch on the Monash Blues of the world. Now, this is why it's going to be difficult for any team who's not in that top 4, top 6 after the first 4 or 5 rounds to come back, because it is so even across the board. You've got Brighton, Bernard, Scotch and Fitzroy all undefeated at the moment. And you've got Monash Blues, who were semi-finalists last year, and Ajax again, who beat All Kerry at the weekend. So let's talk about Fitzroy and how you saw them on the weekend.
They were very impressive on the weekend, and they've been impressive for a few years, but the problem with Fitzroy is it's their consistency, or the consistency of the inconsistencies, which they'll have to iron out this year. But they've got a very, very talented list down at Fitzroy, at Brunswick Street Oval. But their big test will be winning on the road. That's a massive test for Fitzroy this year, and their fortunes in 2016 could be because of their improved road record. Do you think they're going to go?
Fitzroy, yeah. I think Fitzroy will be a finalist this year, absolutely. I think they're a very good chance to make their way into Willingbuck Premier for the first time. Not namely because they had an under-19 debutant on the weekend, Nino Lazaro, who's kicked 5 goals on debut. So they've got Rory Angio-Lalla, who's obviously their key.
He's a gun, yes.
GT Moore medalist from 2 years ago. They lost Daniel Bissetto, unfortunately, over the pre-season, but he's just not playing football this year. Okay. But if they can blood youngsters like Nino, who can still go back and play under 19s, but I don't think that's going to happen in any near future. No. I think they're going to be a real red hot chance.
So okay, let's final top 4. You've got Fitzroy in.
Yep.
Brighton, will they stay in?
Yes.
St Bernards?
Yes.
Who gets the 4th spot then?
Old Scotch.
Old Scotch, there you go. So you've discounted Monash Blues and Ajax?
I have, and I've discounted Old Kerry, who I am a big fan of, but I just think a 0-2 start, while it is a small sample size, in this type of competition is a long way back. It's further back than it would have been maybe last year.
Maybe Sammy Cutts won't be too happy with it.
We've got talented teams everywhere, and I want to know a few guys who you think is leading the charge in terms of the most talented teams in the VAFA.
For me, I'm going to have to lock in the Preston Bullets. They've come up from Division 4 to Division 1. They've won 3 premierships in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And they've been in the VAFA for 5 years, so couldn't go much better than that, I'd say.
It's very hard to dispute that.
Young gun Damon Mark on VAFA Tragics as well. They'll get another mention.
It's a pretty popular unit. And they've got George Wakeham, a 2-time VAFA Coach of the Year, leading the charge. So it's a very good one. Branton?
I'm going to go with the Panthers, Old Mentonians, who were runner-up in Division 1 last year, the Ogs. Now, they possess, I believe, a forward line of young talent that would rival anyone in Premier C and even Premier B for that matter. With the likes of Brenton Sherbert, Jack Davis, Luke Hull, Kyle Conlon has kicked 93 goals in the VAFA from between 2014 and 2016. And James Dalzotto has come across from St Bede's Mentone Tigers to Old Mentonians this year, and he's flying as well. Now, they're my watch for this year. Just see how Old Mentonian go. They've started the year 2-0, and they are flying. They got Q this week, so they should cash another 4 points there. So they're my tip for the most exciting team in the VAFA at the moment.
They have been fantastic. A big win over Hampton on the weekend. Shows how good they are, but I cannot believe that you think that their forward line rivals any from Premier B.
Who rivals them in Premier B?
I'm talking the team
as a unit.
The team on top at the moment with a percentage of 415, Old Brighton.
Yes.
Fantastic young core, led by Harry Hill and Dylan Verney, the 2 young co-captains.
Harry Hill, rising star from last year.
And arguably the most talented player and the most talented forward in the competition, Alex Mastromano. Now, have a look at this, Brenton. Before I go on about it, have a look at this on what he did on the weekend. As you can see, Old Brighton are kicking out, and they've kicked it down to the back flank here, and you see number 44 jump over his opponent, split head, and take it one-handed.
There's the one you got. It's very impressive.
Does
very
it get
impressive.
any better than that?
Doesn't get. That's a good highlight reel. But I'm just talking about as a unit, as a young forward line. I think the Panthers possess a very good young forward line.
It's time to turn our attention to VAFA Women's. Nicole, you've been keeping a keen eye on the women's. Now, there's 9 undefeated teams so far and only 4 spots in VAFA Premier, Wilson Premier.
It's very competitive at the moment. There's been some very big wins across the 2 weeks.
There has been. There's only one more grading round to go, and I'll go through the teams. Marcelin, Melbourne Uni, Old Trinity, Ormond, Old Zavarians, Old Brighton, Beaumaris, Monash Blues and Caulfield, who play tomorrow, who will play by the time this goes to air on Anzac Day against De La Salle. Expect them to win that. So we've got 9 undefeated teams. Who is going to be making up those 4 spots in Premier?
Well, it's very tough, but for me, it would have to be Marcelin. They've impressed me a lot. The Monash Blues and Melbourne Uni, they're my probably 3. Can't pick a 4th yet.
It's tough when you're when 9 undefeated sides. You say
9 undefeated
9
sides.
undefeated sides. 9 doesn't go easily into 4.
No.
Now I've gone with Nicole here with Marcelin, Caulfield, and Old Trinity, and we'll debate this 4th spot is a massive game between Old Zavarians, who hasn't conceded a point, and Old Brighton. Your love child is down in Old Brighton, down the beach over there. So it's going. Do you believe it's going to be down to 8 of those two who get the 4th spot?
I don't think that's going to be the 4th spot, but I think that's going to be a spot. I think we can look forward to a game this weekend, which will likely decide out of those 2 sides who's going to be. And I think that's fantastic for the competition. We're already getting these exciting games, these finals type games, really. But I'm in agreement with the She-Eagles. I think Marcelin have proved in the Lightning Premiership and in their 2 games so far that they are a fantastic side.
Fantastic name too, the She-Eagles.
Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Isn't it?
Melbourne University, I think, are a genuine shoe-in.
Yeah.
Old Trinity, they've got some really tall girls down Old Trinity. They move really well, and they defeated the Ogettes on the weekend. If you remember correctly, they won one of the Lightning Premierships, so that's a fantastic win for Old Trinity. And then I guess we're going Old Brighton and Old Zavarians. Old Zavarians, it would be difficult to tip against, having not conceded a point. Fitzroy, the only undefeated side at the moment in Premier. Scob Saints, unfortunately, had their first loss. Brunswick Renegades, it was good to see them get their first win. And Ajax yet to hit the scoreboard. But we know how talented Ajax have been. They've been around for a few years in the VWFL, so we're expecting big things. And it's good news, too, that we can announce that the VAFA Women's will have their first representative match in 2017 against AFL Goldfields. Okay. So it'll be great to get all the talented, the best 22 wearing the Big V jumper.
Absolutely fantastic. It's a big honour. It was never bestowed upon me to wear the Big V, but yes, it'll be fantastic for those young women.
Very exciting that 2 teams get to play on Anzac Day as well.
Yeah, well, I was going to bring that up as well.
Amazing.
It's fantastic. It's a big honour, and it's a great day in Australian sport. And fantastic for community football as well.
Thank you for joining us, everyone, and join us next week for another episode of VAFA Tragics.
Hello, Tragics fans. Obviously, the voice is not quite there for the show tonight. I just thought I'd give you my... it's a bit tragic, actually, that I'm not there tonight. I hope you're doing a good job, Nick. Tragic take. Now, I know the VAFA have got a new logo for 125 years. Great, beautiful logo. Well done on that. But I'm not quite sure that the logo needs to be put all over the footage the way it is here from the round 1 Old Scotch Carey game. I was doing my research last week and again having a look at the vision before the show and sure the logo taking up most of the footage. Now we know it's a new logo. We know that the VFA are very proud of their logo, but maybe you just need to rein in the size of the logo a little bit. I hope you've all had a good show tonight, and I'll keep resting up in bed and enjoy the VAFA footy over the coming weeks.